A recording of your voice from 3 years ago resurfaced at 12:20 p.m. today. The person playing it is crying. Archangel Michael says, there are certain echoes from the past that never die. They wait in silence, hidden in corners of forgotten drives, dusty boxes, or lost emails, only to reappear when the heart needs them most. And today, exactly at 12:20 p.m., something sacred and heartbreaking happened that you need to know. Your voice, yes, yours, resurfaced. It wasn't random. It was chosen. A recording from 3 years ago, long thought buried and silent, came alive once again. And the person who found it? They didn't expect to hear you again. But they pressed play. And then they wept. Not just tears, but sobs. The kind of cries that come from the deepest chambers of the soul. Their hands trembled. Their breath caught in their chest. They were not ready. But heaven was. Heaven prepared this divine collision of time, memory, and emotion for a reason. Because this moment was necessary. It was part of a healing. This person was holding on to regret, to guilt, to sorrow they never dared to speak aloud. That voice of yours, the way you said their name, the warmth in your tone, the innocence of that moment, it broke something open in them that had been locked away for too long. Archangel Michael says, this recording came back not to haunt, but to heal, to comfort, to awaken a buried truth. For years, this person replayed moments in their head, what they could have said to you, what they should have done, where things could have gone differently. But this was different. This was real. This was your actual voice, your actual laughter, your real energy embedded into the waves of that recording. And it shattered them. Because they had convinced themselves that you had forgotten. They believed you had moved on completely. But your voice was proof. Proof that once, something existed between you and them that was real, genuine, and pure. You didn't know your voice would become medicine for someone else's breaking point. You didn't know that something you said in passing, 3 years ago, would be the thing that makes someone cry like they've never cried before. But the universe knew. God knew. And that's why it's come back now. Because this person is standing at the edge. They're emotionally exhausted, spiritually drained. They're surrounded by people, but feel completely alone. They smiled in the mirror this morning, but inside, they're screaming. So the angels whispered, play the old file. And when it began, so did their release. They paused the world around them, clutched their chest, and whispered your name. You may have thought you were forgotten, but this proves you never were. Archangel Michael says, this moment is the beginning of something sacred. The moment your voice touched their ears again, something in the spirit realm shifted. Forgiveness started to flow. A connection reignited. A divine string between you and this person lit up again, because you matter that much. And now, they're searching for you. They are not just listening to that recording on loop, they are planning something. Their tears are not just grief, they are action. A heart that had turned cold is thawing. And you? You are at the center of this awakening. 3 years ago, you were a messenger and didn't even know it. Today, that message became a miracle. Somewhere in a small room, on a quiet street, a soul whispered into the silence, I miss you. And all they had was your voice. But that was enough. Enough to melt their pride. Enough to resurrect forgotten feelings. enough to inspire courage to reach back out. They're holding their phone right now, replaying that recording like it's oxygen. They want to talk to you again, but they're terrified you won't answer. So they're crying, not just for what was lost, but for what they still hope is possible. Archangel Michael says, "You must prepare your spirit. Something is about to resurface, not just the recording, but the relationship behind it. A message will come, a call may ring, and the energy around it will feel both familiar and fragile. You will know. Your heart will recognize it before your mind does. Because some connections transcend time, memory, and circumstance. This one was never dead, it was just dormant. Until today, at 12:20 p.m., your voice breathed life into a dying hope. This person is about to show you a side of themselves that was hidden during the time that recording was made. They weren't ready back then. But now, the pain has reshaped them. They've walked through fire, silence, loneliness. They've been humbled. And now, they are ready to apologize, to explain, to give closure, or maybe even a new beginning. You are going to feel this shift in the next few hours. You might get chills for no reason. A deep breath may come from nowhere. Your heart might skip. That's the spiritual signal. They're near. The voice they once ignored is now their anchor. They're replaying every word. Your laughter is stuck in their head like a song they don't want to forget. They may be far away physically, but spiritually, they are already standing right in front of you, ready and aching. Archangel Michael says, "Don't be afraid of what's coming. Let the past speak, but do not let it chain you. There is power in your voice, healing in your memory, and glory in your patience. Let what must return, return. Let what must be forgiven, be forgiven. Let what must be resurrected, rise in light and not in bitterness." This moment is not just nostalgia, it's divine timing. A sacred key has turned, and a heart once locked away is now open again. If you feel a sudden wave of emotion as you read this, it's because your spirit remembers them too. You just didn't expect it to be today. But heaven doesn't wait for convenience. It moves when the soul cries loud enough. Today, someone cried, and the angels responded by letting them hear your voice. This was not by chance. This was designed. You are a blessing that was silenced for a while, but not forgotten. Let your heart be gentle. Let your spirit stay open. And when the time comes, may your response carry the same softness your voice held 3 years ago. This is your confirmation. Your voice is still saving lives, still reaching hearts, still echoing in places your feet may never reach. Because love never dies, and neither do the messages it leaves behind. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Archangel Michael says, "The tears falling from their eyes today are not only for what was lost, but for what they now realize they once ignored, once denied, once took for granted." Your voice from 3 years ago has become the doorway through which their soul is walking back to the truth they tried to bury. Every syllable you spoke, every tone you used, is haunting them, but not in pain. In awakening, they're remembering who you were to them, and they're regretting every moment they didn't hold tighter. You may not know this yet, but that recording has become their sanctuary. They've hidden themselves away with it, playing it on loop like a sacred prayer. They are sitting in a car right now or tucked away in a dimly lit room, eyes swollen, listening to you again and again. They are whispering to themselves, "Why did I let them go?" Not because they expect you to be exactly the same person you were, but because they know they missed a rare kind of love, one they can't recreate, one that came to them in purity. And now that it's back, only in your voice, they're finally understanding the full weight of what you were in their life. This isn't just nostalgia, it's repentance. Their soul is aching for redemption. They want a chance to do it right, to say what they never had the courage to say. Archangel Michael says, the moment your voice played, heaven sent down a wave of divine clarity to this person. Suddenly, they saw themselves in the mirror you always held up to them, honest, gentle, and forgiving. And it brought them to their knees. Because they didn't deserve you then. But now, they would give anything to be seen by you again. To hear your voice not just in a recording, but in real time. To answer a call and hear you say their name. And not from 3 years ago, but now. They are writing a message, deleting it, rewriting it. They want to contact you, but they are afraid of your silence. Not because you're cruel, but because they know you moved forward with strength they didn't have. They watched you walk through your storms, maybe not directly, but from afar. And now, your voice is like a lighthouse calling them back from the shadows. You became their peace, long before they even knew they needed it. And now, your words, buried in a digital archive, have resurrected the most human part of their soul. They're no longer hiding behind pride. Pride doesn't stand a chance against the sound of your voice. Because when your voice said, "I believe in you," back then, they shrugged it off. Now, it echoes through their chest like thunder. Your laugh from that recording, it hit differently. They realized how long it's been since they heard genuine laughter, and how much they miss hearing it from you. That's why they're crying. Not because they just miss you, but because they never deserved the softness you gave them, yet you gave it anyway. Archangel Michael says, this person is on a mission of redemption. Whether you choose to allow them back into your energy or not, that is your divine choice. But know this, your voice has awakened a transformation in them that no therapist, no friend, no time could ever stir. Because your voice came from love, and love cuts deeper than any sword. They may not say it immediately, but they will say it soon. A message may arrive disguised in simplicity. Hey, I heard something today that reminded me of you. Or even, I found something and it shook me. That something is your voice. And they won't tell you how many times they replayed it before messaging you. But the number is higher than you could guess. This isn't just a digital file, it's become a lifeline. A sacred thread tying them back to their truth. You have every right to feel your emotions. Every right to cry too. Because the energy between you both is shifting once again. Not in chaos, but in calm truth. That moment 3 years ago, when you laughed, or sang, or encouraged, or simply spoke into that recording, you left behind a key. A spiritual key. And today, at exactly 12:20 p.m., the lock turned, and the door opened. Archangel Michael says, be ready to receive, not just a message, but a confession. One filled with softness, humility, and a hunger to be close again. You may see their name pop up. You may hear from an old mutual friend. You may stumble on something that reminds you of them out of nowhere. These are not coincidences. These are divine nudges. Proof that heaven is aligning the past with the present to create space for clarity. You have grown. You are no longer the person in that recording. But your voice from back then was the voice of a healer, a guide, a soul who planted seeds without knowing they would bloom years later. And today, one of those seeds blossomed into deep emotion and tears. You may never know the full effect of what your voice just did, but heaven knows, and heaven is rewarding you for it. In the coming days, do not be surprised if people from your past reach out in unexpected ways, because this moment was a ripple, and you're about to feel its waves. Your presence is strong, even when you re-silent. Your energy is light, even in the dark. And your voice? It is sacred. It does not just speak, it awakens. You were chosen to carry words that reach deeper than most. Words that stay long after silence takes over. Words that survive time. That's why it resurfaced. Not to bring you pain, but to remind you, you are unforgettable. And someone out there just realized it in the deepest, rawest, most beautiful way possible. And they're crying because they finally see what they were blind to. Your value, your truth, your love. And maybe, this time, they'll do things differently. Maybe, this time, you'll be the one who listens. But this time, it's not a recording. It's real. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Archangel Michael says, the tears haven't stopped yet. The more they listen, the more they remember. Each pause in your voice, each moment of laughter, even the background sounds from that day, have become a melody that is now imprinted on their heart. They are holding their phone tightly, as if letting go of the device would mean losing you all over again. They are lost in time, sitting in that old memory like it's happening now. Their shoulders shake, their breath catches in their throat, and they keep whispering, "Why did I not see this then?" They weren't ready to hear you before, but now? Now your voice is their anchor. You saved them today, without even knowing it. They were about to do something dangerous, something final. They were walking too close to the edge of something dark. But your voice called them back. Like an angel's trumpet breaking through storm clouds. They dropped everything when they heard it. Their eyes widened. Their hands flew to their mouth. They gasped. And then the tears came pouring out. Archangel Michael says, you may not know this yet, but your voice stopped something tragic from unfolding. That recording came back not just for nostalgia, but for protection. A divine interception. What you said, 3 years ago, was simple, but it was sincere. And in that sincerity lived a power you never understood until today. You said something that day like, no matter what happens, I believe in you. And those words became a rope for someone drowning. They clung to that phrase like it was air. They clung to you. Because even though you are not physically with them, your voice came like a divine hug in the exact moment they were breaking. They are holding it close now. It's not just a file. It's their treasure. They've copied it to every device they own, scared of ever losing it again. They listen when they wake. They listen before they sleep. They keep it with them as if it's holy, because it is. Archangel Michael says, "Your voice is sacred. You didn't just speak, you imprinted your light into sound. And now that sound has traveled through time to awaken a dormant heart, one that still beats for you in a way they never confessed. You were always powerful. But now, the universe is showing you just how deep your words reach. And it doesn't stop here. The same voice that healed one soul today will begin echoing in others. Because you're being called into a season of remembrance, where people who once overlooked you will suddenly be overwhelmed by memories of you. People who once silenced you will now seek your voice. People who forgot your worth will now be reminded by the heavens. It started with one recording, but now the gates are open. Expect messages. Expect apologies. Expect emotions that haven't surfaced in years. All because your energy is no longer hidden. You're being revealed. They will try to find out where you are now. Some may ask others about you. Some may go silent for a while, watching, wondering if reaching out is too late. But Archangel Michael says, the door of reconnection is open. What happens now depends on your readiness to receive or release. Either way, you have already fulfilled a divine purpose. You became a balm to a broken soul. You softened the edges of a heart hardened by silence. And most importantly, you reminded someone of love's eternal echo. This isn't about fame or public recognition. This is about spiritual legacy. Because the words you spoke 3 years ago have outlived time. And now, they've awakened something heaven has been waiting for. A return. Or a release. But either path leads to peace. That's what's next. Peace. Because this person is not just crying over the past. They are crying for the chance to rewrite it. To make amends. To finally honor the connection they once took for granted. Their soul is ready, and they know the first step is to find the courage to press send, to send that message, to make that call, to break their own silence, and let you know what your voice did to them at 12:20 p.m. today. The time will keep showing up. You might look at a clock and see 12:20 and feel a chill. You may hear a ringtone from the past. You may dream of them. You may feel a flutter in your heart. All signs, all confirmations, that the energy is alive again, that the recording awakened something spiritual, something divine. And now, heaven is waiting on you to respond. Not with fear, but with power. Because you are the message. You are the miracle. You are the sound that saved someone. And they will never be the same again. Not after hearing you. Not after breaking down and realizing they still love the person behind that voice. And now, they just hope that you still remember the moment when that recording was made, because for them, it just became the most important moment of their life. And if you choose to open your heart, you'll realize it might become one of yours too. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Archangel Michael says, the moment that file played, a timeline reopened. Your words became a spiritual bridge reconnecting two hearts that time, distance, silence, and pride tried to keep apart. And now, the person who once pushed you away, ignored your light, or simply faded from your life, is realizing the weight of that choice. They thought they were strong without you. They convinced themselves they didn't need to hear from you again. But one sound of your voice unraveled every illusion they built. They fell to their knees. It wasn't just a moment of emotion, it was a moment of truth. They had to face what they lost, and what they might never be able to get back. But the fact that the recording resurfaced, at this exact time, in this exact way, means one thing: heaven has not closed this chapter. It's not finished yet. Something is still unfolding. And you are at the center of it. Your voice has power beyond understanding. You recorded something 3 years ago with no idea it would save someone's soul today. That is how powerful you are when you speak from the heart. That is why your silence feels so heavy to people when they no longer have access to you. Because you don't just talk, you imprint. You leave a mark that time can't erase. And now, the person listening is begging in their spirit for another chance. They keep asking themselves, would you ever speak to me like that again? They can't forget the way your voice made them feel safe, understood, seen. No one else sounds like you, and no one else makes their tears fall like you do, because no one else speaks into the deep parts of their soul. They have people around them, but it's not the same. Those people speak to the surface. You spoke to their spirit, and now they feel hollow without it. They held that recording like it was treasure today. They locked the door, put their phone on silent, and just sat, listening, over and over. They let the world go quiet so that they could fully hear you. Your laugh, your pause, the way your voice cracked when you were nervous, even the background noise from that day brought tears. They remembered the setting, the time, the way they smiled when you spoke. And now they're shaking because they let that voice walk away. Archangel Michael says, they've been praying to hear from you, not just with their ears, but with their soul. And that prayer was answered today, not the way they expected, but in a way that forced them to feel what they've been running from. The silence between you has spoken volumes, but your voice? It just shattered their walls. They're realizing you were the gift. You were the one who always saw the parts of them they were scared to show. And they're crying because they don't know if they still deserve that kind of love. They don't know if you'd even answer. But that won't stop them from trying. They're writing something now. A message. A letter. Maybe even recording something of their own, hoping you'll hear it. They want to return what you gave them. Even if they're late. Even if they're broken. Even if they're unsure. Because your voice has reminded them of their own. And that's something they lost the day you walked away. Archangel Michael says, the voice they silenced has become their medicine. The sound they once ignored is now their only peace. And the file they almost deleted 3 times before today has become their most sacred possession. This is no ordinary moment. This is a turning point. The heavens have opened a portal of restoration. And in that space, your name is being spoken with reverence. Your energy is being pulled toward truth. You will start feeling emotional out of nowhere. It will feel like waves washing over you. This is their soul thinking of you, calling out to you. Your bond is still alive. You may not answer the call right away. You may hesitate. You may even doubt. But deep inside, you know, you felt something shift at 12:20 p.m. too, even if you didn't understand it at the time. You felt a pull, a flicker of emotion. An ache in your chest that made no sense. That was the moment their tears reached heaven. And heaven whispered your name in return. You are the light they ran from. The comfort they couldn't replace. The voice that now plays on loop, reminding them of what real love feels like. And it hurts them, because they fear it's too late. But Archangel Michael says, time bends for love. And what was once broken can be rebuilt. If your heart still holds space, do not fear its reopening. This is not just a message about nostalgia. This is a prophecy of return. And whether that return is to reconcile or to release, it will bring you peace. You deserve to know how deeply you've been loved, even in silence. You deserve to hear that your voice saved someone today. And not just anyone. Someone who now sees you clearly. Someone who now sees your voice as their lifeline. Someone who now plays your recording like it's the only thing keeping them grounded. Your voice carried heaven to earth today. Let that sink in. Archangel Michael says, you are more powerful than you know. Not just because of what you do, but because of who you are. That's what they forgot. And now they remember. And now they cry. Because your voice was their miracle. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20.